Hello. Well, we're going to continue on where we left off. We designed a login screen, and you'll notice that I've changed the color of the source editor. If I switch just to look in the source editor, it's now a white background with colored text on top of it. And I thought this might be easier for the viewers to see the text of the source code. So how did I do that? If you go to Tools and Options, and you have the editor, and beneath editor you have display and then colors. If you click on colors, you can see that you can see the current selection. It gives you an idea of what it looks like. You can scroll, you can scroll through it with your mouse. And if you click on a specific spot, you'll notice here where it says comment. If I click on a comment, it highlights it, and then down below it shows you the element attributes for that. So you can independently change the colors of all these various elements for the Object Pascal source code. Of course, I didn't spend the time to do all that. If you notice up here on this, I guess you'd call it a toolbar, it shows default, and if you click, this is and when you hover over it, see it says shows color scheme. So if you click on this little arrow to reveal the drop-down menu, you can now select some predefined colors, which is what I've done. I'm currently using default. Let's pick Delphi and see how it changes. There's a slight change in the color scheme. So this is supposed to simulate the Delphi application. I usually use Ocean because I find it easier on my eyes. The dark blue background with the lighter colored fonts, I just like that better. They also have Pascal Classic. That's another one that would work out well for me. Might work out well for you. And there's Twilight, which has a black background. So for now, I'm going to pick the default and stay with it. So when you're done making your changes, you just come down here to Apply, and you click OK, and your changes have been made. So where we left off was with this little window that we've designed for doing a logon. And what I decided I might do is a couple of things. First of all, currently when you log on and you fail, we display a message box that just says you fail. I want to change that. I want to actually have an element on this window that displays it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a panel to the form. So you click the panel up there on the toolbar, and then you come down here and click a spot where you want it to appear on your form. So I want this panel to be locked to the bottom of this form. In order to do that, with the panel selected, right? Selected, you come over here to where it says Align. And you click on this box, and you pull down the little drop-down menu. And you'll notice that the very first selection is, I hate the color on this because it's hard to see. But right above my arrow, my cursor there, it says AL bottom. That's what we want. So if I click on that, you see the panel, it resized, and it's now locked to the bottom of my my window. If I resize the window, you see what's happening? Panel just floats there on the bottom. So that's what align bottom does. Okay, so now we have a panel on our form, and you'll notice here in the source code it added my panel object, and it's called panel 1. Not descriptive enough. So what we're going to do, we're going to change the name of the panel. We'll scroll down here through the properties till we get to name. Here's name. And now we're going to put in PNL for panel status. Okay? And hit enter. And now it's called panel status. And we can change it. Currently the caption in the panel, right? It's centered, and the text is not what I want. So when this thing appears, it's a caption, not text. So when this thing appears, if I run it now, it'll have panel status in there. I don't want that. So I pick this, I get rid of it. So caption's now blank. All right. Now you recall that when the log on button gets pressed, or if we exit the password edit box, that triggers the event as though the logon button was clicked. So if I go up here to the password box and then we go over to events, you'll see that on exit it actually executes the procedure that's called button logon click. And of course, if we go to our logon button, the on click event is the same procedure. So let's go to our procedure, and it was an if statement, and it tests if the user ID is John Smith and if the password is password, and if it is, it shows a message logon successful. We're going to leave that there, but in the else part of the if statement, we're going to change this. We're going to get rid of this show message, and we are going to put in panel status dot caption, and we're going to put in the text actually what we're going to do is we're going to put in edit user ID text, and then we're going to append to that log on failed. There we go. So what will happen is now when it fails, instead of the instead of the former text where it said logon failed, it will now give the user's ID, the attempted logon ID, and then the words logon failed after it. So let's give this a shot. Let's run it. We press F9, and I'll put in Jane Smith, and I'll put in the correct password, and I'll hit tab, and you'll see now in our panel it now says Jane Smith logon failed. So let's try let's try to see what happens when I put in the correct user ID. Okay, logon successful, but you'll notice what happened. Still says Jane Smith logon failed, so we have to fix that. All right, we'll clear this, close our application. So now what happens is if it's a successful logon, we have to think, if there was formerly an unsuccessful logon, there would be text displayed in that panel. So when there's a successful logon, we have to clear it. So what we do now is we're going to make this a block of statements. And first of all, I'm going to fold this line. I'm going to break this line here and put it down below. Give me some room. Then I'm going to go to the end of the line and I'm going to start a begin. This is a block of statements now, so we have a begin, right? And we're going to have an end, and it automatically put end in for me. And we are now going to, before we show the message that we had already had in there, we're going to do this. Now we're going to say panel status dot, and it remembered caption, so I just hit enter, and it's going to be blank, so I just give it an empty string. And I'm going to put some spaces in here, make this look a little prettier. And I'm going to get rid of this empty line. So now what will happen is, if there's a previous failure and it's displaying text, and then there's a successful logon, it will clear the caption box in the status panel, and then it'll show the message logon successful. Let's give this a little test. We'll hit F9. So first we want a failure. So I will just put, I'll use John Smith, which is the correct user ID, but then I'll put in a bad password. It'll be password 1, and I'll hit tab. And now we've got our failure, right? So we'll go back to our password box and correct the password and press tab. It cleared our panel, and now it's showing logon successful. All right? So we've added another object and connected up some code to it to make it work the way we want. Okay? So this is I think the next step is we want to, instead of just showing the message logon successful, I think we want to do something else. So this log on screen would be the first screen of an application that's going to do something. It's going to allow the person to get into an application. I think that's the idea, right? Before we go and look at creating another form that we link to from this one, I think we should look at the project source code so far. Let's switch back to the source code. And am I still running? Yeah, I want to stop. Okay, so if I scroll to the top, you'll notice that this says unit, and then it has unit 1, right? And you notice that when I hover over unit 1, a little box pops up and it shows me the path to and the name of the source code file. That's very handy to know. But this is a unit. This is not the main program. We need to look at the main program. And the way to do that is you go up here to Project, you click on that, and at the very bottom of the drop-down menu, you'll see View Project Source. Let's click on that. It opens up a new tab, and it shows Project 1, and in it, now it says Program, not Unit. So this is the actual main source code for our project. And of course it gives a project name. And if you hover over it, it shows you the location, the pathway, and the name of the source code file. So when we looked at Unit 1, you'll notice that at the end of that box that's displayed, the extension of the file name is .pas. Let's go to Project 1. Hover over it. The extension for Project 1 is LPR. So units have an extension of .pas, and the main program has an extension of .lpr. Okay? That's good to know. So we have this uses clause that's automatically generated for us. And it has some standard references, interfaces. That is that's a group of functions and procedures that implement the Lazarus object set, the visible objects that are on our forms. All that stuff is in the LCL. It has a forms unit. By the way, if I'm currently my cursor's in forms, right? And hovering over it, you get a box that describes exactly what this is. And you also can press the F1 key and you'll get a much more detailed description of what we were hovering over. Okay? So it says implements forms, which are the basis for the LCL graphical user interface. Excuse me. So that's handy. And if you want, so when you're done, you can read through all this. It shows you, and you can click on these various references. They're shown as a light blue on white background. If you click on them, you'll get more information, okay? And when you're done viewing this, you just press the escape key and it puts it away for you. So the actual code in this project it's a required derived form resource. It says true. It has all these application initialize. That's a procedure for the application to start it. And then the next thing it does is it creates the form, which currently is T-form form 1. And then it runs the application. That throws it into a perpetual loop, looking for events to happen that it can react to. And this is the creation of the form in Unit 1. Right here. Right? T-form 1, and it's called form 1. That's what we're referencing. So I hope that helps make some sense out of what's really going on here. So as we create more units, they will get appended. You'll notice it says you can add units after this. You're really supposed to add them up here before it. And this semicolon here actually terminates this list of units. And this is just a comment. You know, anything inside of curly braces, that's a comment. So let's go back to, we can close this. We're not going to do anything with it right now. All right. I guess what we can do now is we can move on to creating another form in our project. How do you do that? Let's see. I believe you type new form. New form. So now we see form 2. Let me drag this bit out of the way. We now have a unit 2. And when I dragged it, that changed the properties of top and left on this form. And top left is this corner right here. And I think I've shown this before, but we'll show it again. Here's the left property. And if I grab this form and I drag it, you'll see the left number changing. See that? And if I go down to the top property, you see it's currently at 337. If I push it up, it decreases. And if I pull it down, it increases. So we are changing properties. And when we changed the properties, it put an asterisk in front of the unit showing that it has been modified. Okay? So here we have form 2. Now this would be the main opening form of the application once you've logged in. So I'm going to change the properties of this form, right? I'm going to drag this corner out. And that's more like what an application window might look like. And we usually have a menu, a main menu in an application window. We might even have a logo. We might have pictures. We could have all kinds of things on here. Let's add a main menu. So I'll click this main menu icon. I'll put it on the form, and you'll notice there's no main menu. We have this icon on the form, but there's no menu. Let me drag this icon down a little bit. I'm going to double click this. And now you see I have an editing Form 2 main menu window. No menu item selected. I want to add one. Okay. And it's menu item 1. So what's menu item 1 usually in an application? It usually says files, right? So let's go to caption, right? If we go to caption, I can put files. And you'll notice, let me pull this down and out of the way a little bit. We now have a menu bar and it says files. Let's add another item. We go over here, we click item, and now we have menu item 2. And we have a caption that says menu item 2. Well, what's another thing? We might have reports. So let's put reports. Reports. And now we have reports in our menu bar. Okay? And so it goes. You can keep adding. You click menu, add a menu item, and you can add it. Let's go back to files. And let's add a submenu. So I click that. You'll notice up here, these names aren't very good. We're going to have to change all of these names, right? But we now have menu item 3. And I don't want that. I want this to be quit or exit. Say exit. So I'll go back, I'll edit this, and it will now say exit. Okay? And it added it here. And we'll stop right now. We've at least created something on this form that we're going to show. So let's close the editor by clicking the upper right corner. If I now click on files, it shows my little pop-down menu shows an exit function. Okay? So what are we going to do when the exit function is clicked? All we have to do is click on exit, and it takes us to our source code, and it shows menu item 3 click, and in it, this is going to be the things that execute when that's clicked. And I think we're going to close the window. I think that's probably what we'll do. So I will just say close. We'll see if that works. Now, let's fix all these names because these are not descriptive. Okay. So menu 1 is files, right? I believe. I should have fixed that when I did this. Yes. So files is menu item 1 under menu. Okay. Actually, that's not true, is it? That's not true. How can I have two menu item ones? I'm going to put my main menu. Let's see. Let's say my main menu. See what that does. Okay. If I go to menu item 1, this is going to be files menu, right? We want to change that name to files menu. Okay. And as I'm changing these in the name property, you'll notice that they're changing up here in the object inspector, and they're also changing in our source code, which I'll show when we get done making these changes. Okay, so I just clicked on reports. What's item 3 then? Oh, item 3 is exit. Okay. So I'm going to say the name for this is menu exit for that. And then for menu 2, this is the reports menu. Okay. Hit enter for that. Okay, we've renamed all our menus. And so we're done with the editor, I think, for the moment. Yes. So we have exit. Okay. And now you'll notice it's now menu exit click. And all the names up here have been changed, right? So we've got everything set, and it's going to close it. Okay. So how are we going to access this unit or this form? Okay, we're going to look at that. So yeah, how do we access this form, get it to come to display? Oh, I want to change the caption of this. It's not form 2. So the caption now of this form is my application. And enter for that. Okay, we changed the title in the title bar to my application. Let's do something we haven't done before. Let's, instead of calling this form 2, we're going to call this, excuse me, I'm going to call this FRM for form. My application. Right? Learn to spell application. There we go. All right. So now this is called, and you'll notice it's changed everywhere. It's changed up. You see the change up here in the object inspector. And if I look at the source code, it's now form my application. It's changed everywhere it's referenced. Okay. So it does a lot of work for us. We don't have to do a lot of code editing when we make a little change like that. Now the unit is currently called Unit 2. Why would I want that? So I can change the name of the unit now. And I think I can just do it by changing it right in here. And I think that will then filter out into the source code. Let's see. Let's bring our project source back to view it again. You see it added Unit 2. When we created that unit, added Unit 2. It's now also creating my application form. It added that code in here. Excuse me. So what happens if let's just change Unit 2 to say Unit My Application. So I'll say Unit My Application. Okay. And if I save everything, let's try saving everything. Okay. So I'm going to click Save for that. And did it change it in the source code? Yes, it did. It now says Unit My Application. So that means we can go back to Unit 1 and we can call this Unit Logon. Right? Let's call this Unit Logon. And we'll save everything. Update the references automatically. Yes to all. So that changed this. It says Unit Logon in here now. So we need to do a save. That's changed. Now this is called Project 1. Do we want to change this program? Yeah, I think we just want to call it My Application, right? I think that's what we're gonna call it. My Application. And let's save everything. Now it didn't rename Project 1, did it? Huh. Let's see, how would we rename that? I don't think we can rename that. I'll have to check into that later. I think maybe my next time we come back in here, I'll have to see about changing that. Let's close that for now. Oh, and we're going to change the name of the form on the logon. So there's our logon window, and currently the name is form 1, and we're going to change this to say FRM logon. Okay? Okay. And if we go back to the source code, it's now a unit logon. And no, I'm not, what am I saying? The form is now called form logon. Form logon of type T-form logon. This is the class it's building up here. Okay. So we've made a few changes. Save everything. And I think what I could do, that isn't, let's see, yeah, this references our units, but our units don't reference it in any way. That's right. Okay. Now, if I try to reference the form on my application from logon, how am I going to do that? Form application. How am I going to do that? I'm going to have to be able to use it, I think. LPR here. It creates it. But how do I get access to it? Can I just, well, let's see. When logon is successful, we aren't going to display this message anymore. So we want to show a form. So I think it's called show modal. Modal, not model, modal. I guess it isn't. How am I going to show that form? Can I just say form my application? What happens if I just run this right now the way it is? Do those forms all show up? Let's just run it, hit F9 and see what happens. Got an error. Cannot find unit logon used by my application. Unit logon. I didn't reference it. It says cannot find unit logon used by my application of the project inspector. I don't reference it. Is that the problem? Why would it say I am Why would it say that? Do I have to say uses in here? That doesn't make sense. Does it? That doesn't make sense to me. That message does not make sense. And it's putting an asterisk up here because I'm moving the form around. I shouldn't do that. So let's just save it. Okay. F9. It's going to give me the same error again. And it's showing in my application. Oh, I do reference it. It's showing it in the project. Isn't that interesting? Unit logon. Isn't unit logon in the project? Project units. Oh, that's the problem. That's the problem. Unit 1 is showing up. You see that? So I've got to get rid of that. I've created a mess. Project options, project inspector, remove, yes, I'm going to add, there's no unit. I changed the unit, but there's no unit in here. Oh my goodness. I've got to do a save as. Save as. Save. Yes. that's saved. Okay. Is the form, can I save the form? Okay, that's there. What if I try compiling now? See, it's not in my list. Now it's in there. Okay, let's run. Let's do F9. Where is... Okay. It's not creating my my logon form. It's not creating my logon form. Why is it doing that? Can I move this? Drag and drop is not implemented. Not implemented. So this is not. So how am I going to change that? What do I do? I remove this. Add. This. Okay. Try compiling it. Try running it. It won't run. It's not running. Project. Oh, it's removed the forms. Oh, for goodness sake. It isn't creating the forms now. There they are. That's not what I want. It's not what I want. You know, I really hosed this up. Oh dear. It isn't creating the... It's not creating the forms. Control Z. Am I going to have to manually edit this? I guess I'm going to have to. Am I going to have to manually put that in there? I think I am. I don't believe it. Let's see if I can do this. So this is going to be logon. It's called my logon. Form logon was T form logon, and it's going to be logon. I'm sorry guys if this is a mess because it's been a while. So we'll save that. F9. I didn't see anything happen. It says it was successful. I don't see anything displaying. No. Nothing's displaying. I didn't get any errors. It says it was successful. Is it running? I guess it was running. Nothing was displayed. It created the forms and it ran the application. Let's try F9 again. Okay, now it came up. Are there two windows? I don't see two windows. I don't see two windows. Now, why is... Go back to our source code here. Oh, I gotta close this. Yeah, I can do it here. Files, exit. Why is it showing my application and not my logon? Let's take a look. What's going on here? Run. Nothing's running. Why aren't my... Oh, there are no forms. Jeez, Larry. Okay, this form. Let's look at this form, the logon form. And is it visible? It's not. let's look at the other form. Yeah. Look at the other form. Is it visible? It says false. Okay, now let's run it. F9. Ah! Okay, now this form's coming up and the one behind it's coming up. And I can okay. Okay. Well, at least we've got both the forms coming up. So what I want, though, is I don't want this coming up until this is successful. So how am I going to go about doing that? I want this to be my main form. Interesting, huh? I want that to be my main form. Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. What if I flip these application creation events around? Let's do that. Put this. I don't know if the order of creation is going to change anything here. We'll give it a shot. Let's F9. Interesting. So this is the only window that shows up now. I put it first, and it's showing up. The other one is it created and just not visible? Well, let's see. First of all, do I have visibility of the other form? Can I do a uses of the other form? It's created. Do I have access to it? So the other form is called form. Is it form my application? Form my application. So do I have access to it? Form. I don't think I do. No. So the implementation is going to have a uses clause, isn't it? Uses it's a unit. Unit my application. I think it's true. There. Oh, it's going to be interesting. Yeah, this is going to be interesting because I guess we'll save it. Let's run it. F9. John Smith, password, tab. Yay! Okay, that's how it works. But my logon is still visible. That we don't want. We want that to disappear. We want that to disappear. So, how are we going to do that? And then when we hit Files, Exit, it leaves my logon still running. I don't want that. So, my application runs. What I could do application. You know, maybe what I need to do I wonder if I can create this my application unit inside of the logon unit and then display it. And not create it in the project. Can I reference I could have a uses clause in here. Could do that. I create that in here? Can I run it out of this? That's the question. Can I do a form my application dot, can I create looks like I can create nil create it in here. I wonder if this will work. Can I do a var form my application T form my application and then say form my application is equal to, shoot, learn to type, huh? Equal to create it and then show it. Show modal show, come on Larry, is there a show modal? Yeah, modal. just show modal, right? And then and then take it out of here. I wonder if this is going to work. Let's F9 it. Okay. Yes. It worked. So what this does now, the main project just creates the logon form. And when the logon form is created, it of course it presents this window. When logon is successful, the program source code uses the unit my application. It creates the empty form at my application. So successful logon, it makes the current window invisible, makes visible equal to false. It then creates the form, my application, and does a show modal. Show modal means that form can't go, that form stays up until it's closed. No other forms can open behind it, in front of it. It just runs itself, and then when it's done running, it comes back. And also it does not return, so you don't get an immediate return back to this. After this, in other words, this runs and then it doesn't come back until that window is closed. And then when that window is closed, the visibility of the logon window returns. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to clear the text in those boxes right away. So what we do we're going to say, just grab that. And insert it in here. This is going to be colon equals empty. Let's grab this one up here. Put it down here. There. This, oh geez, Larry, you gotta learn to hit the shift key. There we go. All right. And then, so password's correct, clears the caption box out, clears both of these boxes out, the user ID and password boxes. It sets the visibility of its self to false, so it disappears. It creates the main menu application and then displays it and executes whatever code for that. And then when that window closes, control comes back to here and it returns visibility back to the logon window. And then that's it. We'll see if that all works. We'll save it. Save everything. And I hit F9. Okay, so now we put in our username and the password. And hit tab. Our main menu comes up. There's nothing behind it. The login screen is no longer there. It's been set invisible. And I can either exit by clicking this, or I can just shut the window off. And now our logon window comes back. Whew! Well, this is developing. It's been a long time since I've had to create this situation. So everything is working. I think we're going to let this go. I don't know how much time we've already spent. So a long, long video. So I'll just say goodbye, guys, and we'll move on with some more. We'll set up that menu and get it to actually do things in my next demo. Have a good day.